Hey, what's going on, guys? Coach Jacob here. Today we're going to continue with part 2 of a 6-part series covering the 6 foundational principles. Right, we're kind of going through these one at a time. So, quick reminder, our 6 foundational principles are sleeping, eating, drinking, thinking, moving, and breathing, right? So those first 3, sleeping, eating, and drinking, are more yin or anabolic in nature. And the last 3, thinking, moving, breathing, are more yang or catabolic in nature, right? So we've got 3 of each. Today we're covering moving, right? We're going to go in depth a little bit on moving. And moving is catabolic or yang in nature in that it requires resources to do. But if you balance your moving with your recovery, your sleeping, eating, and drinking, right, then ultimately the movement becomes an anabolic force in that it helps your body adapt and get stronger and get a little bit better, right? So we're talking about moving. Movement is life, right? Nothing in the universe is stagnant. So moving and expressing yourself through movement is a great way to express your energy and express yourself, right? So we're going to kind of break down movement into 3 main categories: strength, endurance, and mobility, right? So we at Funk Fit have 4 pillars that we kind of live by: strength, endurance, mobility, and nutrition, right? So those first three have everything to do with moving and how we move and how we do it correctly and how we do it to enrich our bodies and make us healthier versus kind of breaking us down, right? There is an entire kind of other side of the coin to moving that can ultimately be destructive to the body. So we're going to kind of talk about that. But let's first get into strength, right? Why do we need to strength train? What is the importance here? The biggest importance for why we strength train is just to improve the capability and the durability of your tissues, right? So if you don't want something to be injured, right, you make it strong. That is rule number 1. Make it strong. Strong things do not break. Weak things break, right? So strength comes first, and then it's important to build up the capability and durability of your tissues so they can actually handle physical stress, right? So how do we strength train? Well, if you've paid attention or if you've noticed at Funk Fit, we have a balanced program of 5 fundamental movements. 5 fundamental movements. These 5 fundamental movements are push, pull, hinge, squat, and loaded carry. Push, pull, hinge, squat, and loaded carry. Now, those are 5 big patterns that the human body does, right? And it's important that we balance out our pushing with our pulling, our squatting with our hinging, so we can maintain balanced posture, right? Anytime you train a muscle, you're increasing the resting tone in that muscle, right? The resting tone or the tension or tightness in that muscle. What that does is it kind of pulls on your joints, right? So if you go to the gym and you do a bunch of bench press, you bench press 4 or 5 days a week, right? You do a lot of push-ups, but you never ever do any pull-ups or rowing movements to train the back of your shoulders, then you'll get this kind of posture here, right? Super tight through the pecs, pulling my shoulder forwards, but I'm weak in the back of the shoulder, so I'm stuck here, right? Now, if you balance your pushes with your pulls, right, then you're evenly strong in the front and in the back of the shoulder. The resting tone or tension in the muscles is now balanced, right? Boom. Now my shoulders sit back, I'm nice and tall, and my shoulder is balanced and healthy, right? So it's important when strength training to know how to create or execute a balanced program to keep your joints healthy, right? So we push, think either push up, like horizontal or overhead press, vertical, right? We pull, think again, horizontal pull or vertical pull, so like TRX row or pull up on a bar. Hinge, think deadlift, kettlebell swing, right? Training hamstrings, glutes, posterior chain of the body. Squat, right? Think goblet squat or single leg squat or lunge to train kind of more of the quads and a little bit more of the anterior chain of the body. And then loaded carry, think farmer carry, right? Kettlebells in the hands or overhead carry. This is important for just kind of integrating all of the movements, right? It's forcing your body to work as one piece while working under load, right? So push, pull, hinge, squat, loaded carry. We have a balanced program of these 5 fundamental movements, and that is really important for strength training the correct way to keep your body healthy and strong, right? So we kind of talked about balanced posture, right? Muscle tone on either side of the joint is what creates resting posture, right? So balanced strength program equals balanced posture. When you do a proper strength program and you're doing it correctly and consistently, you'll get an increase in bone density, which is huge, especially for the older population, right? One of the major, one of the most pressing issues for old people is falling, right? That is a huge concern. A lot of people die from falling, breaking a hip, and then having complications in the hospital, not being able to recover from that broken bone. So bone density is incredibly important to help mitigate injury, right? Now, another huge thing with strength is grip strength and leg strength, right? Those are 2 things that are kind of predictors of longevity, right? Grip strength, leg strength, VO2 max, which we'll kind of talk about in the endurance section here. But grip strength and leg strength are all going to come from our strength training, right? Holding on to heavy things, right? Squatting and deadlifting heavy things with the legs. If your legs are strong, you're way more likely to get off the couch when you need to, right? If your grip is strong, then you're way more likely to catch yourself if you're falling. So grip strength, leg strength are huge in mitigating risk of fall and risk of injury, especially in that older population. But if you start now when you're younger, it's easier as you get older, right? So strength is super important, keeps the body durable, capable, and again, allows us to have a balanced posture, right? Now, endurance. Endurance, the biggest thing that we need to do to create endurance is inefficient movement, right? If you are really good at swimming, right, you're a great swimmer, then going to the pool and swimming a bunch of laps may be therapeutic for you, but it's not going to really challenge you as far as your endurance, right? And you're not going to burn a lot of calories swimming if you're a great swimmer. Now, if you're a terrible swimmer, right, really bad at swimming, and I tell you to go swim a few laps in the pool, that's going to be very, very challenging for you. It's going to spike your heart rate. It's going to force you to kind of get into that endurance. So you're going to burn a lot more calories. So things that you're not good at are going to be things that you want to try and do to increase your endurance, right? Which I know is kind of a hard task. We kind of tend to go towards the things that we are naturally good at, right? So find something that you are not good at and do that. Inefficient movement will build your endurance, right? That's why burpees suck for most people. It's a very inefficient movement, getting to the ground and back up quickly. That's extremely inefficient, which is why it spikes your heart rate so quickly, right? So if you do endurance training consistently and you work hard at it, a few of the things that you'll notice: lower resting heart rate, right? This is a huge one. Lower resting heart rate throughout the rest of your day. You train for maybe that 1 hour a day, but then the other 23 hours of the day, your resting heart rate is basically how much your body is working just to maintain your homeostasis, right? If I'm sitting on the couch and my resting heart rate is 80 beats per minute, then my heart and my body is working pretty hard just to keep me alive sitting on a couch, right? But as you increase your endurance or your VO2 max, then maybe you're sitting on the couch and your resting heart rate is 60, right, which is pretty good. Then you've decreased the amount of work that your body has to do, the demand on your heart and your systems to just keep you alive, right? So now your body is more efficient in its everyday life, right? That 1 hour of training is supposed to carry over to the 23 hours. That's why we do that 1 hour of training, right? To make the rest of your life a little bit better, right? So endurance training will lower the resting heart rate, which will lower the tax on your body and your heart. It'll give you healthy and strong mitochondria. Mitochondria are in your cells and they create energy for your body to use. An interesting thing about the mitochondria in your cells is that they don't actually share your DNA. They are a completely separate being from you, but you have a symbiotic relationship with the mitochondria in your cells. So they don't share your DNA, but they work hard for you to help you create energy for your body. So the more that you challenge your endurance through high intensity intervals and things like that, the healthier and stronger your mitochondria get, which translates to you having more energy in your daily life, right? I know we could all use a little bit more energy in our daily lives. That'll keep you from reaching for the caffeine so much, right? If you have more energy throughout your daily life, you can get more work done. You're a better husband, wife, father, child, right? Student. You're better in all aspects of your life if you just have a little bit more energy. Along with that, healthy mitochondria, more energy, you'll have faster recovery from your strength workouts, right? Then when you finish your strength workout, you're sore, that lowered heart rate, that healthier mitochondria is all going to translate to you being more efficient and being able to recover a little bit faster and a little bit more effectively, right? So then you're able to train a little bit harder and a little bit more often. So endurance training really complements our strength training. Okay, so we've covered strength, we've covered endurance. Now let's talk a little bit about mobility, right? I love this one. This, I think, is the missing piece when it comes to movement for most people, right? Especially I'm talking to our Funk Fit people. Our Funk Fit people, I see you guys in the gym 3, 4, 5, 6 times a week, crushing yourself with our strength and our endurance workouts, which is awesome. But like we talked about, if you're not recovering properly from those workouts, then ultimately this whole thing becomes a catabolic force on your body, and it tends to just continue to break you down, right? What we're missing is this movement that is not scripted, right? We have our patterns for our strength, we have our intervals for our endurance, right? We have programs set out for those things, but our mobility is that other side of the coin. It's that unscripted movement where you're kind of just feeling your body, feeling what's tight, feeling what needs to be moved, and just kind of going off of instinct or intuition, right? So the biggest thing here is the work in, right? Strength, endurance, that's working out, again, expending resources. Working in is moving slow, complementing movements with the breath so that you can actually build life force energy in your body, right? Building life force energy in your body, again, will allow you to recover a little bit faster, give you a little bit more energy in your daily life, and help you balance out that work in, those two forces, right? Our anabolic and our catabolic forces, so that ultimately you can be vital, you can get back out into the gym and get your squats, get your push-ups, maybe not the gym, maybe your living room right now, right? But that'll allow you to kind of balance those two forces to stay healthy. So mobility, we come back to balanced posture with our mobility. Like we talked about with the strength, right? Keeping the muscle tone or the tension on either side of a joint keeps it healthy, right? I reference bench press. If my pecs get super tight and short from benching or doing a lot of push-ups, then my shoulder is going to come forwards into the socket, and now I'm at increased risk for injury anytime I go to move this arm around to do something explosive. So how we balance that is by strengthening the back of the shoulder, right? So I said we balance the pushes with the pulls to create balance in the shoulder, and that's just one example, right? But another big piece of that balanced posture is stretching, right? So say I'm in this position kind of constantly because I got short, tight pecs. What I'm going to do, or what I would prescribe to someone to do, is I would say you need to do a lot of band pull-aparts, right, to strengthen that upper back and that rear delt in the shoulder. A lot of like TRX rows, again, to strengthen those muscles in the back. But then the complementary thing there is to stretch the pecs, right? So if I stretch the pecs and I strengthen the back of the shoulder, suddenly my resting tension goes from this to this, right? I now have a balanced posture, which then allows my body to be balanced, and it doesn't put unnecessary stress on the joints, right? So mobility comes back into that balanced posture, and that stretching what is tight will help balance your posture. Strengthening what is weak will help balance your posture. So those two work together, right? So balanced posture equals joint health, right? Balanced joints or balanced muscle tension is what allows the body to move freely without putting unnecessary stress on certain joints, right? My favorite metaphor for this is that the body is like a musical instrument, right? Like a guitar. If all the strings are in tune, then you can play something beautiful, right? But if the strings are out of tune, you have too much tension in one is too loose, then you don't get that same sound, right? So, joint health also comes from just moving, right? Your joints don't get blood flow like the rest of your body does. How your joints actually get nutrients is they diffuse them through movement, right? So you have things in your joints called synovial fluid, and the movement of the joint, the movement of that fluid is what helps your body diffuse nutrients into the joint so it stays healthy, right? Think like oil can on the joint, right? Oil can for the Tin Man. Moving is like lubricating the joints. And then finally, with that mobility, we have a decreased risk of injury, and this comes in through multiple ways, right? Working in, balancing the working out with the working in will allow your body to recover so that you don't get injured. And then like we talked about, keeping the posture balanced, right? Keeping the tension at each joint balanced on either side will again mitigate that risk of injury, right? Along with that, as I increase the range of motion that is available to me in specific joints, I also decrease risk of injury, right? Here's a good example. Say I'm going to throw a ball as hard as I can, right? I go to step, I go to throw that ball, swing my arm up overhead, right? If I am lacking the ability to get my arm overhead without having to side bend, right? Many people, their arm stops coming up right about here, right? And then to get that arm to the ceiling, boom, they're bending into their spine, right? So if I go to throw a ball as hard as I can, and it looks like this, I've just created a lot of forces through my spine, right, that are not going to be beneficial because my shoulder's not moving freely, right? If my shoulder moves freely, then that force translates through the ground, through my legs, through my core, into my shoulder and my hand smoothly without interruption. But as soon as I have to dump into my spine, right, I'm now risking injury either at the shoulder because I'm kind of forcing it to do something it doesn't want to do, or at the spine because it is doing something it should not do during that movement, right? So freeing up more ranges of motion in your joints will allow you to move a little bit smoother, and again, decrease your risk of injury, right? So, moving. Strength first. Increase the durability and the capability of your tissues. Endurance second. Inefficient movement, do things you're bad at, decrease your resting heart rate, and increase the health of your mitochondria so you can have more energy and better recovery. Mobility, work in. That's the biggest thing I can say. Take time to slow down, breathe, do unscripted movement, and really get in touch with your body and work in, right? Stretch what is tight, strengthen what is weak, and keep your body balanced and strong, right? As long as you guys are hopping on to Facebook and following along with the Funk Fit workouts, I promise all the programming is legit. It is very well balanced. It is well put together. It is well thought out. And then this one right here, I've done a couple videos on mobility, but this one does not require too much instruction. Just do what feels good, do some unscripted movement, get in touch with your body, and keep moving, right? So I hope that was helpful. I hope that was helpful for you kind of understanding the structure of how we move, how we work out, and how we do it at Funk Fit. Thank you guys for tuning in. Again, I'm Coach Jacob. I'm still doing some online private training and things like that. So if you want to dive into your movement a little bit more and how to get more out of it, then you can reach out to me. And again, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it.